Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gaming Son and Father. In this episode, we're gonna discuss the debate that's going on right now about Elden Ring's DLC. This debate really happens just about every time Souls like game come on, and it's generally people who are playing the game who might say the game is too hard for them. And that happens with a lot of games. Not just Elden Ring, but games like Lies of P, and and any game that Neo or whatever like that, any game that follows within that genre, and then you will have the pushback from who I might call the gatekeepers or whatever, who's saying well you just gotta get good or whatever, or try to convince you that the game is not that hard. You're just not good enough, and these games, teaches you life lessons. A game shouldn't be easy. It's supposed to be as hard as could be. All those things. And and to be honest with you, I never did like those arguments. But at the same time, I kind of never really um was a person that was going and saying these games was too hard. I always said it was hard, but I didn't think it was too hard. Um, but in this case here, with Elden Ring, I'm I'm in agreement that the game is really, it's not that the game is too hard. You know, um, cause of course the gatekeepers are going out making all these videos saying the game is not too hard, and I agree that it is not that the game's too hard. But my argument is the problem is the game is significantly unfair, and that's really the problem. The game is not the problem. The game is not that it's too hard. The problem the game is it is very unfair. So I know it's a double negative, but it is what it is. It's unfair, and that's the main problem with the game. Um, and we still got some toxic behavior with these gatekeepers, because they 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 for some reason think that games should be made just for them. To push them to the envelope. To fulfill their ego. That, hey, I can defeat this game. I'm this good to beat this game. You know, good luck winning any kind of moral awards for being able to beat these Souls-like games. Now, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't enjoy these type of games, because I do. And at the same time, I do like, it makes me feel good to win and beat these games in this genre. I like them. However, in this case here, it's not fun because it is unfair. And I'm going to discuss what makes this game unfair, and makes the fun being drained out of these games in just a minute. But want to address some of the things that these gatekeepers will say that offense. And really, I think that the main reason why there's so many videos now, not to say they haven't had videos with Sekiro and stuff like that. Games like that was another game that people thought was too hard. And I will admit, my first time playing it, I rage quit. And I came back later and I played it and I beat it because I understood the mechanics a little bit better. I was able to play more so like games because I beat a whole lot of them at that point. And I did feel a lot of joy and excitement once I finally beat the last boss and I beat that game. And I felt that satisfaction that I did not feel when I had beat the DLC on yesterday. I didn't feel that satisfaction, that joy from beating the game, that thought in my head like, you know what, I'm gonna go run through it again like I did with Liza P. I don't. I didn't even want to see what the boss memory for the DLC gave me like I wanted to see the boss memory for the base game gave. You know, and you had these toxic gamers who were saying that the base game was too easy, and they should make it more challenging, you know, so they can fulfill their egos. Um, but I think the main reason why they are triggered right now more than anything is because, um, unlike in the past, no matter how much people complained about the difficulties of these games, they typically got overwhelmingly positive reviews on, I think it's called Steam. But now as I'm watching these videos for, you know, Elden Ring DLC, people trying to defend it, one thing that keeps coming up is the fact that it's getting mixed reviews on Steam. And I think that is the number one reason why now they are all coming to woodworks, you know, and this with a little bit more anger than usual. It's usually this snootiness, you know, elitist attitudes, but now it's just kind of angry attitudes because it's, the game's getting mixed reviews and it's not getting reviews that they think it should get. Um, because they you know, I think they got a little bit of realization that you can't make a game just for certain people who have these, you know, egos to be able to say I beat this game, and just turn off a large majority of the fans that you had just received with the Elden Ring base game. Because what happens is now they don't want to buy these games no more because of what they just went through. When you get these mixed reviews, then people won't buy the game as much. And at the end of the day, this is a business. Eventually, you know, people will start doing it and stop buying the games, and then you won't be able to have these games. So they took it a little too far this time. They turned people off. I myself, in my fifth finger, have said I would never ever purchase a DLC from software ever again. Because if this is what they're gonna do, is like, why am I gonna spend my hard-earned money for this unfair BS that I dealt with? Now, they're going on and saying, well, it's you gotta go get this, however you say that thing, no one can say it right. Skidoo tree fragments. Okay, yeah, I did that. You know, by the time I fought the final boss, you know, I liked the exploration part. I had like seven. I was at what, the level 17 with the whatever the thing's called. So I collected a lot of them. But at the end of the day, I was still getting beat down bad by the final boss. Now, these same people will then turn around and say, well, they put all kind of mechanics in the game for you, you know, so just use them. Use the summons. Use the I forgot the thing called the when you like the mimics or whatever. Okay, but these are the same people, if you remember, who was making an argument during the base game, saying that if you use a mimic, if you use a summon or whatever, then you didn't really beat the boss. It was frowned upon. The same people. So why all of a sudden now it's like we're using mimics, but you were still saying someone did not beat the game if they use summons or mimics. All right, so that's kind of insane. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, me personally, I wanted to myself. I wanted to be able to beat without the mimic because, you know, it would just make me feel good if I could do that. But at the same time, you know, the base game, I went through it because it's like it was hard, but it was fair. So I might have had some raging moments in, you know, the Elden Ring base game. We had some raging moments in, uh, let me see, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, you know. But at the end of the day, I went through it because it was hard, but fair. And that's the thing. So I had no problem with it. That's why I kind of appreciate those games because they did present a challenge, but they were fair. I can't say that for the DLC. The DLC was extremely unfair. And we just about to get into that. So, and I'm gonna show you and discuss why I say this game is unfair. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, these enemy bosses does monster damage. That was just 2 hits, and you saw all the damage that those 2 hits took off. Now that is crazy. That's not the only boss that does massive damage like that. As you can see, fighting the final boss, I get a couple hits in. Normally, those numbers are great, but it's not that much to itself. But look at here, 2 hits and half my health is already gone. Now, here's the thing. Another 2 hits, half the health gone. Um, here's the thing. About my builds. The damage could, for a lot of people, a lot of times is much worse because I have all kind of buffs that I use before I walk in there on defense. I also stack that with my talisman that's focusing on defense. I also have the my wondrous mix set up to bring me defense. So I got all of that, all those buffs on to negate the damage, and still getting half my damage took away with 2 hits. That is ridiculous. Speaking of which, when it comes to Radon, another thing with these bosses, look at all this stuff coming. Then he's coming with all these attacks right back to back to back. I mean, just nonstop. I mean, the attacks are relentless, and as soon as you try to heal, what do? They go and attack you, and that's another problem. Because these bosses are so relentless, you don't have a chance to even breathe or get a good hit in. That causes a problem too. And what makes it worse is the amount of time it takes to heal you being attacked again. And to be honest, that's one of my biggest complaints. When you trying to heal and it just takes so long and you get attacked. See, all the space I got, I'm trying to heal and bam, before I can get through healing, I'm hit. And that happened way too many times with these bosses because the healing process takes way too long. So if you make a mistake or you have to go through one of those long consecutive combos, and then you get hit and you're trying to heal because they hit so hard, and then as soon as you heal, you're getting hit again because it takes so long to heal. When you add all that together, the bosses have these enormously large health pools. 2 or 3 hits could kill you. Then on top of that, they have relentless attacks, combos that never stop. And then as soon as they stop and you breathe for a second, try to get 1 hit in, they attack it again. Or if you need to heal, the healing process takes so long that you get hit again. When you add all that together, it makes the experience unsatisfying and it's not fun. It has to be a balance. And like I said before, I play a lot of these Souls like games. I'm all for the challenge. I love it. But at the end of the day, it has to be fair. And like I said before, one of my biggest issues, because you gotta if you're gonna have all that going on, at least give me a healing mechanism that does not take that long. I can't think of any game besides Dark Souls and Elden Ring that has these extremely long healing processes that you get punished just for healing. You know, something got to change. Or at the end of the day, say for the fan base will eventually dwindle, and then you got to make money. And everybody is not like these people who are saying you got to get good, or you got to learn, and you got to do this, you got to do that. I can do with no summons. You gotta learn from the game, these life lessons, teach the perseverance, stuff like that. Well, you got to keep in mind, um, in the history of gaming, it was not for games were meant for people to enjoy themselves, to have fun, to release stress, enjoyment. Most people, to be honest with you, don't have the time like some of these streamers are to sit here for 12 hours and play a game. We have jobs. So we don't have time to sit here and be stuck on one boss trying to, for 5, 6 hours, you know, trying to learn how to get past this unfairness just to say we did it. You know, we're not getting no endorsement deals, no, how can I say, not endorsement, but sponsorships to play games. We're working. We're working. You know, um, if games were just set for those people who, because someone tried to say, you can either get good or you can just be live long enough to be what do you say, a journalist. Well, most people who are playing don't sit at home all day play games like you do. Most of us have jobs, and if companies just build games for those people who are streamers, then guess what? You're not going to have opportunity to make a lot of money. So, and if you build a genre that is so punishing, so unfair, for those who like to do stuff like that, then once again, even in the genre that people love, you are doing the numbers down and you can't make money because y'all complaining that some of the people who are saying it's too hard I'm sorry, the streamers, the Dark Soul fanatics. So, you know, like I said before, I love Souls-like games, but this one here was just a bit unfair. And that's what makes people say it's too hard. And, see now on this path, then this is a business. You can't survive on just streamers. People have jobs. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day. See you next one.